Good morning. Happy Monday to you all. It's Memorial Day, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful Memorial Day. I know that this is a unique and different world that we live in today, but it'll get back to normal. So, uh, here we are today doing more work from this whole thing here. It's hard to see, but I have been taking out all the bookshelves over here and been going through and doing a whole bunch of renovation on this side of my office. We've got these beautiful bookshelves that we got from my wife got from her work that they were throwing out, and so I repainted them, and they're all now a nice, beautiful shade of blue. And so I've taken down all the bookshelves that are over here, and we're going to start putting them in over here and bolting them together and things like that, and it'd be great. But the bookshelves aren't in because they're still drying out in the garage, and so we've got to go do that. So that's a thing. What we're going to do today is we're going to start with more work because we're only 2 or 3 pages from the end of this piece for Fred. So I'm like literally only a handful of pages left. So we've got to finish the page we were working on with a little goofy devices things, and then we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 pages left, so I might as well get them to their done spot where they are complete. And I'm going to go on ahead and black this out. There we go. All right. There we go. Now, when I originally did this one, I didn't actually, I kind of made a mistake here a little bit. Went ahead and we were kind of getting out of here, and so I flattened it, and may not have been one of my smarter moves. So I flattened it out over here. One of the things I was thinking about was that this poor cup needs to be chipped or something because it can't be. This is post-apocalyptic world. So obviously we've got, some kind of post-apocalypse here going. So a crack would be nice through here. Show that mug is not doing so hot, right? There we go. There. Just fixing those up so that they look good. All right. And these two down here, I need to clean my screen one more time. I can tell that I've been working in my office and kicking up a ton of dust because it is all over my monitor. These two, we're going to have to bring up the book for, which is fine. I've got that right over here. So I'll bring up the, not what I wanted you to do, but okay. I'll bring up the book and take a look at that. So let's head over to that directory and pull up the book. And this is page number 292. Here's the book. My computer's kind of having a slow work day today. I don't know what's going on, but we're a little slugged out. 292. All right. So these are okay. So I'm thinking this one shows, I think this one probably ought to show the device in somebody's hand, right? Let's go ahead and do that because that seems like a thing, right? We got the device in somebody's hand here. There we go. And what it is this crystal thing. It kind of looks, it's kind of difficult to explain. It looks like some kind of, it's got some kind of strap. You know what? I'm going to do this the other way. I'm going to take this out. We've got two crystals side by side on this one. Like this. And they're bolted together on this piece of wood right here. There we go. And then there's this strap that's holding them down. It screws right here and here and here. Might stick out a little there. It'd be funny. Kind of give the effect that it's not quite all the way bolted down. There we go. Hey, Cat, how you doing, man? Good to see you. And you got the day off, and you can join me and draw with me, and that sounds like a fun thing. Sounds like we got a day scheduled here. Art day. Art day. Oh, man. Of course, the truth is, for you and me, every day is an art day, right? That's the way that goes. So, good to see you. Good to see you. There you go. We'll do that and that. So my thought here on this particular piece was the original drawing. Every day is art day. Hey, David, good to see you, man. Every day is art day for you, too. It's what we do. It's our job. It's our lot in life. We were designed to do this. It's what we do. So, what I was saying here was that I've got this device thing, which needs to be held in a hand. It looks like a handheld thing. And so I'm going to go on ahead and just build it like it's this handheld device. And we'll get the crystal squared away at some other point. I know. Okay. And there's this, I don't know what this thing is. It's a sphere with crystals in it. So, looks like something that out of some nightmare. I don't know. But I'll draw it in. I'm hoping that the guy who I'm doing this for will show up at this show up here, and if he does, then I can ask him what this does. But for right now, I'll just draw it pretty much like it sits. I'll just put it on the ground. Make it look patchwork. Could be kind of fun. There we go. How do you do what? This? Broadcast? You can broadcast. This is Restream. So, on Restream, I actually really like Restream because at some point I'm going to have to put my computer into the shop. But since Restream is all on the web, all I got to do is log in my Restream account on my Surface, and I can do live drawing somewhere. I'll maybe go out in a park somewhere and just draw live, you know? So I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. Really? So, actually, it's not a bad idea if I think about it. Get another little Logitech camera that just travels around with my Surface. And then I could probably put the Surface down flat. Like, oh, okay, that's not a bad idea. I'm going to think about this. I could broadcast from my Surface and draw with my Surface while this computer is in the shop, which is going to have to happen here. So down at the bottom, it says invite guests. So I have to invite you, which really isn't a problem if you, let's try this. Hang on. I'm working it now. Let's see. Search for cat. There you are. And I will PM you. Work. There you go. Check your Facebook PMs. All right? And then here you can join me. It's Art Day. It's Guest Art Day. I'll turn that back on. It's Guest Art Day. So now Kat can join me. And we'll do this. And it'll be a Draw Together Day. I'm okay with Draw Together days. And David can join us too if he wants. I don't know if he wants. I'll be sitting here just chatting. I'll wait for you to join me. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to getting all of this area all kind of cleared up, cleaned up. Then I'll be able to put in my new shelves, and they'll be all down through here. All my paper will be strengthened out and straightened out. That'd be great. You don't have to. You can just sit there and draw while you watch. That's fine, David. But my paper will be down here, and I'll get that all straightened out, and that'll be great. And There you go. You've joined me. You can.
There we go.
There you are.
Yep. Sorry. Like, where's my face? I found it. What's up?
Your face is way low.
That's okay, because we'll be switching to share screen in a minute, so it's all bueno.
I'm gonna see if I do. There we go.
You do.
So if we do, well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
if we do this version where it's widescreen, so to speak,
it'll be easier. It makes everything smaller, but that's fine. I mean, we're doing comic stuff,
right? We're both doing comics. So it's good to have you, man. Good to see you. It's good to see you.
Been a while.
I've been operating.
Yeah, it's like it. Yeah, I've been all over the place. I moved to South Dakota in 2016, and then I moved around a bunch until 2018, and then I went out to Los Angeles to intern with Tokyo Pop for a couple months. I did that with them for 4 months. While I was out there, I worked with Graphics Lee and Wacom, and then I ended up moving back to South Dakota. Now I work at a print shop. Here we are. It's basically what happened.
That's where a lot of us go.
Yeah.
Because then we can print our comics. Why? Because that's where then we can print our comics.
Yep.
We let's be realistic here. That's the best part for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of, wherever I go, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can go out to Florida next year. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get to go to Japan this December. We'll find out. I'm pretty hardcore about the contest, so there's already a few really good submissions. So we'll see what happens.
I admire the fact that you're in that fight. I don't know if I'd want to get into that fight.
It's
Tokyo Pop.
Scary.
Yeah, that's pretty high class.
Well, I mean, for me, the big thing with the Shonen Jump contest is this year it's any genre, and that does not happen that often. And so, I know this year we'll probably have bigger competition, but it's any genre this year.
Right.
So that was a really big deal for me. I mean, I'm still trying to make it more shonen-esque.
Sure, because that will appeal to the. That makes sense.
Right, and it's funny because if you look at some of the current submission entries, they're like, oh, a lot of them are obviously fanzines or almost doujinshi and they specifically asked to not submit that. Oda himself specifically asked, do not submit these. People are submitting them, and it's
Yep. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the terms that we're talking about. Shonen and shoujo are two different styles of manga art. Shonen is what they used to call boys' comics, and shoujo is girls' comics. Although, obviously, that's sort of an outdated term.
Yeah, it's irrelevant now, pretty much.
Yeah, because I read a lot of... I read mostly shonen, but there's a few shoujo that I just absolutely adore.
Oh my gosh, is it which one is it that's coming out for Fushigi Yugi? I saw that got announced recently, and I went, oh my god! I'm so excited.
By style, I consider Yu Watase to be very shonen.
Yeah.
Even though her stories are shoujo-esque.
I think that's why I liked it, is stylistically, it looks more it looks more shoujo. It's got that soft look, but the story itself is more shonen.
Right. And so it's this hybrid between the two.
She was one of the first mangas because I watched a lot of anime, and then I went to my library and they had Fushigi Yugi there, and so I rented out the whole collection, and I read it, and it was so good, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
And then I got King of Thorns shortly after that, and it was really sad because they never finished, they never released the last ones. But when I entered at Tokyo Pop, guess what they had? They had their whole library. And so all of the things that I never got to finish, I got to read. It was so great. Nana, Princess Ai, Peach Fuzz, everything was there. Absolutely everything was there. It was crazy. But yeah, Yu Watase was one of the first real manga people I got into. And then I was looking for recommendations from Fushigi Yugi, and I got Inuyasha.
Right.
And that was how I got on my my Rumiko Takahashi kick. So
I feel
yeah.
old every time we mention Rumiko Takahashi. I always feel old because, of course, I got in it. I got in at the end of Urusei Yatsura.
Oh yeah.
At the very beginning of Ranma. And so, like, it's like, everybody's like, Inuyasha's so cool. I'm like, see, the thing is, you guys need to read Meizan Koku. That's another.
Yeah, and that's
Koku is very
good.
shonen, but the story is so shoujo.
Yep, and that's kind of what I did. Is after I finished Inuyasha, I was like, well, what else is there? And so like I looked up her library, and I kind of slowly just went through her whole library. I'm gonna tell you what, Mermaid Saga messed me up. Like
Mermaid Saga, all of the Mermaid Scar.
Oh my
Saga.
gosh, it was just. I was watching it and I was like, is this the same person? This is awful dark.
Well,
so
and you know what I love about so Meizan Koku is easily one of my favorite series. You know, and this is coming from somebody who's totally into Yukito Kishiro's Battle Angel, right? I'm like a major Battle Angel nut, and I'm a major Macross nut. But Meizan Koku, there's something about Meizan Koku that always just touches a vibe with me every time. And it's only 14 volumes, which for
it's not that big.
Takahashi is small.
Yeah. I mean, God, how Inuyasha was what, like 587 chapters?
Yeah.
It was huge.
And Ranma was too.
Ranma was pretty big.
And Urusei Yatsura. The one that really gets me is Urusei Yatsura. And that's because it was her first. But she still managed to put out like 1,000 chapters of it. I'm
really glad that they've kind of like brought that back and they're republishing it again. Yeah. That's definitely awesome because I'm like, all right, we're just waiting for my next omnibus.
Right. Because there's something lovely about everything that Rumiko Takahashi does.
She just has like
just got this elegance.
Yeah, there's like this weird vibe of like, and for me, what made it so interesting is her style is relatively simple compared to manga these days.
Right.
It's and you can tell it looks like she just does it with a brush. I mean, I know she doesn't, but it looks like she just uses a brush because her lines they're so like the line weights, they're like almost always tapered at the end. And it's just such an easy style to recognize. You know, it's like, oh, that must be, you know, Takashi's work. So it's pretty easy just to go, oh, that must be hers. You know, I got to read it. So and then Junji Ito I'm really getting into now. So I wasn't
you and Brian. Oh boy.
I wasn't a big horror person. And then I read which one did I read? I read one of them and I don't remember which one it was, but I read one of them and I was like, this isn't that bad. Like, cause I'm really like my brain goes, gee, I wonder what that feels like. And it's like, wait, no, stop.
Right. It didn't go over like I wanted it to.
Yeah, so I'm not like a huge horror person, but I've been getting into true crime docs a lot lately, and so I've been getting more into like the horror stuff. And I can read it, but I couldn't watch it. I couldn't do watching it. My brain would not handle it very well.
Oh yeah. Well, and Junji Ito like gets into what is like that called the trypophobia or whatever the
fear of holes.
Yeah, and holes. He loves to play on that.
He loves to mind like it's not just horror as in like gory, and that's what I like about his work because it's not just like there is gore, but it's not just about that. It's literally like mentally messing with people as well as just like creating the most like horrifying mutant like things that he possibly can. He's like, let's take a shark and let's put crab legs on it. Oh, let's take this giant fish. Let's also put crab legs on it and like have it chase people. It'll be great.
Land sharks have never been thought of before.
I laughed hardcore pretty much at that one the whole time. So
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be so funny if it hadn't been created by Saturday Night Live, and of course that means we're all like laughing about it because we're like, haha. But the truth is, the Japanese haven't seen the Saturday Night Live episodes, so they're just terrified.
yeah, which makes me kind of feel bad. It's like y'all haven't even wait till you guys hear about tornado sharks.
Right.
Like, just wait.
All
right.
It will occur. Okay, so what are we doing today?
Let me see if my share screen is going to work here.
It should work just fine. I think that everything's beta, but I think that it doesn't work.
There you go.
Now I can share my screen.
Okay, cool.
It wigs out if we do it at the same time.
Does it?
Yeah. That's what I've learned is it wigs out if we do it at the exact same time. So
good to know.
Using Clip. right?
I am. Yep, I do. I use Clip Studio. I don't use Photoshop anymore. Clip Studio is kind of like made for this stuff, so I just use it. Plus, I'm partnered with Graphicsly now, so yeah, I use Clip Studio.
They went to subscription, and that just has made me sad.
Well, not for. It depends on what tool you're using. If it's like laptop and stuff, it's not subscription based. Still, it's still one-time license.
If it's laptop, what?
Oh, if you have like a laptop or a desktop version, it's still the one-time license.
Oh, okay.
So it's only if it's like a Surface Pro and an iPad or whatever, it's a subscription. Yeah. At least that I'm aware of. Unless they've made an announcement that I missed.
No, well, I mean, it was just last month they made the announcement they were going to go to a subscription based. And
for everything?
No. I just saw it, and so I clearly haven't read into it because if you sound like you have more information than me. Is what I'm trying to get to.
Well, let me just double check. So
yeah,
because that may be something that I just didn't know.
They haven't charged me yet. So, I mean, and but one of the things I was going to do was I was going to move over to Clip Studio Paint because I'm annoyed with the fact that I pay $50 a month for Adobe.
Yeah, same.
When in reality, as wonderful as Adobe all is, as soon as I no longer have...
Yeah, it's still a one-time purchase. It's a one-time purchase for Windows, Mac OS, so I'm not sure if for the Surface Pro, I would think for the Surface Pro it would still be a one-time purchase.
I think it is too. So this is just iPad.
Yeah. Yep. Just iPad. Yeah, just iPad. And iPhone, like that kind of stuff. It would be a subscription because it's considered
Android,
an app. Yeah. Because it's considered an app. So
you know what? I'm okay with that. And if I had an iPad that I used more regularly than right now, where I just use my iPad to get around with stuff, then I would probably think that's not so bad. And actually, I don't think that's bad. Okay, that's good. You have redeemed these guys to me. Because
good.
I have been sitting here going, oh, crap. Because that's one of the reasons why that's why I wanted to move to Clip Studio, was because, I didn't want to have to. I like Clip Studio. In fact, I probably should switch to Clip Studio right now.
Well, let's see. What features do you want to use? You want to have? Are you familiar with story, like the story feature and how all of that works?
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here going, "What are you doing? God, this looks
okay." So in Clip Studio, when it comes to making manga, there's two different ways you can do it. You can either do it page by page, and then unfortunately, Clip Studio doesn't have an export feature where you can just directly export to PDF. Unfortunately. You can export each page individually, but you can't export like a comic book file. You can't do that. Right. Yeah. So you'd still have to put it together outside of Clip Studio. That's the only real grump that I have about that, and I've already submitted that as a suggestion to my agent that you guys need to fix this, because that's literally why I'm getting this program, is to make the book out of it. I don't want to have to do much more afterwards. But what's really great is the bonuses of this is you have what's called a story file. And this story file keeps track of your pages for you. If I want to work on any page, let me close that one. So the next page I want to work on is spreads 24 and 25. I'll just double click on it and it'll open it. And I can work on this individually. So let me just make a new layer and I'll just kind of show you. So if I were to take this and draw, see how it updates this file?
Yeah.
It basically just helps keep track of that stuff for you, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about managing 50 gazillion things. And you can export from this story file. So if you want to just work on your pages individually, that for me is a huge thing. That's a lot less files and folders that I have to manage.
Right.
If you want to say export just one specific page, you can do that from the actual page file that you want to do that. So you still have that option. The biggest thing for me though is the assets. The assets are absolutely amazing.
Stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why I got it.
Well, Clip Studio has its own tool for that, and then you can download others. Right. So let me Let's see here. All right, so now we've got this panel. All right. So in Clip Studio, you can make individual panels, which is what I've done. So each one of these, it basically creates a mask. And so now I can go in here and I can draw all I want, and it won't go outside. So I can control my panels that way. So if I have to go outside the lines, it's okay. I don't have to like manually worry about that. It'll do that automatically. That's kind of basic, you know. But say I want to put in a screen tone here. I can grab my lasso tool, select the area that I want, and it brings up this cool little toolbar. And I'll just hit the tone. Oops, it moved my window over to my other screen. Oh, I can't see it. Dang it. Well, there's a window that pops up asking what settings I want. I'm just going to hit the defaults. And then it creates its own layer with the mask, which is, you know, pretty cool. But you can come in here and edit your screen tone individually and say, well, I don't want noise. I want circles. Well, that's okay. Just change it to circles. We'll change the frequency so you guys can actually see them. Yes, Discord, I know. I hate that Discord does that. There we go. So now we can actually see that there's a frequency here. We can change the density. We can change the frequency. We can change everything.
Oh.
You know.
See, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, and then what's really nice is if say you forgot to color in a spot because it's all on a mask, we can just go in and we can fill it in like where we want it. And you can change it at any time. So you're like, well, I don't want circles. I want lines now. Well, we can change it to lines. We can even control the angle of the lines, you know, which is really, really cool. So that would be in our settings here, so we can change it.
Wow.
So that's the main reason why I got Clip Studio. And what's really cool is the screen tone tool is in the Pro version. But if you want access to the story feature, you have to have the EX version. So, you know, because it's like EX, you know, I think of like extra, like, you know, like actual professionals. Right. The other thing is if you do animation, the Pro version allows you up to 24 frames. If you want to go more than that, you have to have the EX version. That's honestly the main difference.
I have EX, so...
Okay, so you're good.
It's...
Now, with assets. So basically, assets are like, you know, like how like you can download brushes, you can download materials and textures from online websites. Clip Studio has that built into the software.
Okay.
So here's some materials that I've downloaded. Here's a shell brush. Let me drag this over here so I can actually plug it in. So we have special like tools over here. We've got I've got my screen tone thing on. New layer, please. We've got a gauze brush, which is really cool. That effect you see absolutely everywhere. It has its own brush.
Right.
And you can also download other brushes. So I've downloaded this shell brush here. Okay, so I'm going to drag it over. It'll install. It'll take a second. Here's the coolest part about this.
I'm loading up over here.
No, you're good. If I go too fast, let me know. So now I have this.
I'm like.
Now I have
just
this shell brush that I can use. Yeah, so now I've got this cool shell brush. And look, it's even colored. Like, it has the white included. Here's the really cool part. You can change that. So say I want red lines and I want like a soft, creamy fill. I can do that. Ooh. Why is it not? Why are you doing... Oh, because I'm on a monochrome layer. That's why. I was like, what? There we go. So if you want to, you can adjust that. So you can like, oh, I don't have to color it now. You have your basic liner. Now the only downside is if you're going to add shading to that, it can get a little hard to do that. So typically, you know, like what I would do is I would just do the black and white one. If I have to color it, you know, I'll just do black and white. Black and white.
There.
And then I can just...
I had to change my interface to white. I'm getting... Everybody's in a dark phase, and I'm in a light phase now. Like, all the programs load automatically in these dark colors, and I'm like, I hate that. So I have to, like, fix it. So
it's
all good.
There we go.
I noticed that you put your navigator up and the color wheel and stuff like that up in the upper right.
Yeah, I don't use the navigator, like, at all.
Right. I don't either. Although I have seen some really good tutorials show people using the navigator for bigger picture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
like when you're trying to see the bigger picture on things at the same time as you're doing something close up. So I've seen people do that, and I think that's kind of cool. I just haven't trained myself to be able to handle that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I do that, I'll bring the navigator. Since I've got a Cintiq, if I do that, I'll have the navigator on the other screen. That way, I can kind of see it completely separately. Because I feel like I want to see it, but I'd rather use these tools. I'd rather just kind of use that stuff instead. And it depends on if I'm coloring or not. If I'm coloring, I don't want my navigation tool. I want my color wheel.
Right.
So I'll just move the navigation panel somewhere else. And just have it up there. And even with Twitch and streaming, a lot of people like to have the navigation bar visible. That way they can see the whole piece at the same time. So that's a really popular thing.
Just I'm not that kind of.
I just want it on my screen.
I don't know. I have this real problem with Navigator. I just don't use it.
Yeah, it's like I know where I am.
Yeah.
It's like I know where I'm at. I've got spatial awareness. Like I know exactly where I'm at in my drawing. But like for other people who may not know, it's nice to have it. So what I'll do is I'll just have my navigation bar on a separate screen, but I'll add it in using Streamlabs. So I'll add it in as a separate window, and I'll put it in the corner where the color wheel actually is for me, so that they don't have to look at my color wheel. For them, they see my navigation bar, but I see my color wheel. That's what I've done a few times, and people like that.
So the big thing that I had a problem with previous versions of this was text.
Yeah, the text tool is still kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean I was doing all of the work over here and then importing it over to Photoshop to do the text.
Yeah, I mean the text tool. This is pretty much what you get. It's like you pick a font and you can center it or not center it, pick the colors and the size. That's about it. It's still that way. Now, as far as it centering in the word balloons and stuff, that's definitely a lot better than before.
Good. That was my problem.
Yeah, it'll pretty much center automatically. Let me get a balloon here. It's like if I grab a balloon here really quick, and I grab my text tool and I type in the middle, it'll all automatically I've got white text. I hate when I do that.
I do that all the time.
Okay, so it's already centered within the balloon. So I didn't even have to center it or anything. That's just automatic. So it knows. So that's definitely better. The only downside is if you have a dark colored balloon, I've got a million dark colored ones.
Right, you got a zillion balloons.
Yeah. Some of these are really, really cool. So if I have a really dark balloon here, I'll have to make sure I change the text to white myself. But other than that, it's okay. So at least it centers it. Now, what I really love at Clip Studio is the symmetry rulers. Those are really, really, really cool. So, but I don't know if you'd be using those that much. Basically, it allows you to kind of draw just really cool. Let me just make a new file here. So, and they've got templates and balloon lines.
The tails are the great part of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it just makes my entire week.
And so if you click on the tail itself, it should pop up as its own individual item that you can move around, and you can adjust. So you should be able to click on it, and it should bring up all of the points. You might need the object selection tool. It looks like yeah. There you go. So now you can adjust it. And move it around and rotate it and everything, and it'll stay connected to the balloon no matter where you move it. So
how do I bend it?
Yeah. How do you click on the point. You should be able to click on the point, and it should bring up the handlebars.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll zoom in. I'm I don't have any control of this. Give me.
Let's see. I'd have to play around with that a bit more.
It's all right.
Because I usually don't edit them. I usually just leave them as they are. There you go. That would work, I guess. There should be a way to make it more round.
Not funky.
Yeah, let me.
I need my handles for this.
Whoops.
How do I get my control handles? Pinch vector.
I'll figure it out with you.
Control point. You know what? I'm going to get my mouse. I'm not mouse.
Honestly, it might be easier just for you to redraw one. Or to draw your own might be easier.
Yeah, maybe. But this is one of the big things that I love about Clip Studio Paint is being able to put in balloons. So
and you can download
this skill.
Yeah,
that's good enough for right now. I mean, it's fine for right now.
Right. Yeah. I know there's a way that you can click on it and you'll be able to do it. I'll be honest, I almost never do it. But with the assets panel, what's really cool is hopefully it'll show us. Let me bring up here. So it's sort of I kind of want to almost relate it to open source. Where let's see, is it going to show it? No. Okay. Well, it's not going to show. Basically, Clip Studio has an entire library that you can access, and you access that library by when you open the material window, you'll see search for additional materials, and you can actually go through that everyone has uploaded with each other.
Right. Well, and
so that's a really
things
cool
that
part.
I really liked was like I've got people in here, 3D people.
Yeah.
You know, which is so useful.
Yep. The 3D modeling is so helpful. If you're really struggling, like if I'm really struggling with a pose or like a perspective, I'll be like, screw it, I'm gonna go get I'm gonna bring them in. Really struggling. Let's see. It'd be somewhere. There it goes. You even have like 3D environments too, which is really cool.
I think Clip Studio just decided to microphone.
Yeah, I heard that. Beep.
Yeah, I think it tried to disconnect my microphone. There we go. My microphone's back. I have learned my lesson now. I think I have too many USB items at this point. So.
Okay. So, loading. It's really... Yeah,
it's not loading.
It's not loading?
Well, it opened the web browser thing. I
clicked to download it.
Clip Studio on this computer and then haven't really used it. So
yep, you can kind of do everything with it. It's really easy.
We are in. Need to be on this layer.
Yeah.
This layer. No.
Yeah, you can see me.
Mm-hmm. That's weird. It's not loading the character in. It put up my assets window over here on the right.
Before?
I think the cloud with the line means that it hasn't been downloaded, but I don't remember what the command is to download.
Well, I'm wondering if the asset still exists in the library. That's what I'm wondering. Is if the online library, because sometimes things get deleted. I'm wondering if it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, this would be
that happens.
Stock girl, whatever.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's got 2 schoolboys and 2 schoolgirls.
Yeah.
The stock.
That's super weird that it's doing that.
Well, and I've
naughty.
Yeah, I'm
naughty. Clip Studio, bad. Smack it.
Right. Because everything needs to be downloaded. It looks like. Well, I can bring it to school desk. There we go. Brought in a desk. There. Let's do toning.
I know, it makes life so much easier. It's absolutely amazing. It's like, even if you don't use that itself, at least you have something to draw, like, on top of. It just makes life so much easier. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to move it in 3D.
Yeah, it's a. Yep. It's basic. It's basically Maya, basically.
Yeah.
You just have to. Yep. You just have to figure out how to do this without Maya controls.
Right.
It's
Without
like
the benefit of
yeah.
Maya's controls, which would have been very useful, but there we go.
Maya's a pain. Maya's my nightmare. Like I love Maya, but I don't love Maya.
It's really obnoxious. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's kind of like the big things with Clip Studio is, you know, the 3D tool, you know, being able to have the story mode, and then like the animation and the animation stuff is really cool because it's all cell based.
Yeah.
So let me. Dun, dun, dun. Here's the oops. The animation panel.
I'm noticing that neither you nor I are actually getting like legit work done. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's okay. That's okay. So, but yeah, so with this, it's all just individual cells, individual layers, and and it works so. And what's nice about what I love about Clip Studio is when you're playing, it doesn't like get glitchy. It doesn't run behind. Even if you have like 50 gazillion freaking layers, it doesn't like. You know, like how Photoshop will lag really badly when you're trying to do the animation? It doesn't like Clip Studio so far. I've not noticed that being an issue. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So far, I've not had any issues.
I'm still just trying to get it to do its job. No,
I'm sorry. I don't know what it's doing.
I haven't configured it properly, so
being naughty.
I get that. I'm still trying to figure out how to make this work. You know, based solely on.
You should be able to go to the layer properties, but you might have to raster it first. So is the desk still a smart layer?
Yeah.
So you might have to raster it first, and then you should be able to two-tone it. So if you click on the layer, and then there's like a little hamburger menu in the layer window, like you'll click on that, and it'll go to just like in Photoshop, and there should be a rasterize option. So you should be able to rasterize it, and then you should be able to tone it, because it won't do that if it's a 3D, if it's a smart object.
Right.
Yep. Now it'll think about it.
Yep, I like how it blacks out the screen when it thinks about it. That like freaks me out every time.
Yeah, it does. And now you should be able to two-tone it, and do all that fun stuff. Now you should be able to play with your layer property, and go to just black and white, monochrome, that sort of thing.
Right.
So hopefully that'll work now.
Cool.
Just make sure when you rasterize it, you have the opacity all the way on if you want it all the way up.
Otherwise, it'll rasterize it down as a 50% mask. I get that.
Yep. I did that the first few times, and I was like, what is wrong with this? Why is it not working?
Why is this not working? Most of the time, whenever I do, when I do these though, when I use these models, I really just want to just get the perspective correct, right? Like in this instance, I want to just get the table so that I can draw this perspective, right? That's really what I'm after. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm never really.
What, Miso? Miso, hi. My cat has graced us with her presence.
Meow. Yeah, David like, said learning is a part of working, and he's right.
Most definitely.
It was Bob Ross that says if you're not failing, you're not learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You just gotta sit down and like just do the work. Do the thing. Are we doing the thing? Let's do the thing.
We're doing the thing. Look at us doing the thing.
What, Miso? I'm trying to draw, honey. She's like trying to grab the pen. It's like, no, stop.
Cats. My cat gets in here now and
gets involved in all this because she's usually like very scared of everybody, but we've been in quarantine for so long. Now she's had the same exact people for 7 weeks. So she has gotten less and less PTSD.
That's weird. I can't see it. Ow, Miso, that is my leg. What are you doing? She's like flexing her claws into my leg.
She loves you.
She's like, why are you not paying attention to me? Why are you drawing so early?
That's what my cat does. What's the story with you being so early on this?
Yeah. Usually I don't stream until like 8 p.m. And so it's really, or it's not even noon here yet, I don't think. So she's like, what's the deal? So I can't even see the call.
Hey,
Hi, Brent.
Brent's here. It's Brent. He's on the call. We are apparently playing with Clip Studio Paint today. This is our thing. I'm not drawing straight lines because I'm just trying to see what the point looks like here. As in, this isn't an art style of mine to have sloppy, wild lines. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the what I use it for too. Is I'll use the 3D models as like a frame of reference, and then when I'm comfortable enough with I'll just sketch it over real quick, then I'll redraw it and try to add things to make it unique, or that way it's not just like a direct trace.
Right. Yeah, well, and that's sometimes I'll do direct trace on things just because I don't need them to be that. There's nothing critical about it.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's sort of the whole thing. Like I was doing people earlier, for backgrounds, and I just rendered a whole bunch of DAZ 3D, maquettes walking around. And so just kind of traced around them and, stuff like that. So I just have a whole bunch of background people. The idea is that I'm populating backgrounds for backdrops so that whenever my characters are downtown or in the town or in the city, I don't have to manually draw all those people wandering around in the city. I just set these standees in the background so it looks like there's people wandering all over the place doing stuff.
I actually made a crowd brush. I actually made a couple of them so I can at least I've got just random. I just took random silhouettes of people and I just made brushes out of them. And then I can just take a background, like a photo, because I've been taking photos forever. I think I've got at least a terabyte worth of just stock photos that I've taken over all the years, and I can use those as now stock. Like when I was in Sarasota, because I knew I would be using beaches and shorelines eventually in my manga, I just took a crap load of photos from every perspective that I could think of. And now I have all of that stuff that I can use. I can go, well, it's my photo. So.
Yeah. You took it. Yep. I think that's part of something I'm trying to kind of get over is if I am just, I have proven over and over and over that I can draw the person by myself and all's fine and everything like that. And it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, right. But sometimes you don't want to.
Well, what I've said is my biggest problem with me as an artist is I can see that my perspective is off, but I can hammer it in until my perspective is straight, but it doesn't feel. I get very uncomfortable until the perspective is perfect, and so I will literally spend hours on one frame. And when you're making a comic, we don't have hours to make a frame.
No, we've got maybe an hour.
Right. I've got to be able to pull many frames a day in order to get through my comics. So one of the things I learned a while back was to use DAZ Studio to pre-render the people standing in the room. And then I draw their faces and I draw their clothes and I draw all that stuff. But it makes it so much easier because I don't have to fuss with the I don't have to fuss with the perspective, which will drive me crazy. And so it's one of those, but then I struggle with, am I tracing? You know what I mean? And that's the struggle I have, is that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like, you know what, professionals do this, like actual legitimate professionals do this, so there's literally nothing wrong with it. You know, and if people want to, I mean, everyone thinks the Renaissance painters were literally just really good painters. No, they literally traced their works with camera obscura.
Yep.
So like, if they can do it, we can do it.
Yep. We just have more advanced camera obscuras.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's true. I mean, that it's just that, you know, I know that there's a stigma to it, and I get all caught
and
up.
there's a sense of pride too. There's like a sense of pride as well that, well, we all can't be Kim Jong-gi, you know, so.
Right?
Someday we can.
I love also, one of the things that I really dig in here is all of these preset pages, frames.
Yeah. I'll use them just as like a base, because I've noticed when I do my roughs, my thumbnails on paper, I tend to do my pages in 3 panels every single time, like a beginning, middle, and end. I do that for my pages. And so it's like, oh crap, like I can't do that. So I'll use I'll pick a default that's really close to what I wanted, and I'll try to use that. That way it helps me vary my panel count as well. And if I have to like squeeze in like 1 or 2 more panels, like if I have to break down emotion or break down an action, I can.
Right.
But that way I'm not like doing 3 every single time, because I seriously I stopped and I was looking at my layouts that I did on paper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, every single page has 3 panels.
Oh yeah. When I do my layouts for the comics beforehand, I'll set up my tone for it. Like, I use paneling to vary the speed of the story. Like one panel, we're really, really moving slow, but then all of a sudden, you know, everybody's fighting or something horrible's happening. That's 7 panels. You know what I mean? You've got lots of action going on, so people are reading through the panels fast.
Yeah,
and,
that's
throwing words back and forth and yelling at each other or something like that. I'll put in a lot more panels to indicate speed, to go faster. The story is moving faster at this point. So
yeah, that's kind of what I've learned to do. I think what I've been doing though is I've been making just larger or smaller panels to show motion. It's like, no, I need to like do more individual smaller panels. But I mean, with doing layouts, you're just focusing on what's happening, not necessarily like how you're showing what's happening. So I need to work on doing my layouts better. But I didn't notice it until I looked at my like everything, because you know that was what my goal was. It wasn't until after I realized it, I was like, oh crap, I need to work on this. And so since then, doing my other pages, I've tried to be more careful. But,
I can make these pop out. Oh, that's cool. Because there's nothing that says manga like a panel that's all the way out in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, somebody asked me to do their lettering for them, and it was, so they were like, "Oh, that's cool." So they were like, it was a company, it was a big company. They found me on a comics forum somewhere and wanted me to do the lettering, and so they sent me a page, and the page was gorgeous art. I mean, this was definitely a professional outlet. And so I put in the bubbles and I lettered, and they wrote back and said, how much experience do you have? I was like, well, I've got 25 years of experience drawing my own comics. And they're like, no, I mean working for companies. And I'm like, only a handful. And they're like, you should have led with that. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know. You kind of did just PM me out of nowhere on Facebook. But one of the things that tipped them off was that I didn't constrain my bubbles to the actual panels.
It's different in comics and manga. Yep.
It's such a manga thing to do.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, if you had said that, I would have told you I'm a manga artist. And as a manga artist, panels don't constrain, and and balloons don't constrain.
Yeah, bubbles can go outside the panels. They don't have to stay inside. Like, that's such a Western comic thing, is that the bubbles have to stay inside the panels.
Yeah.
And I've had people say that to me when they've been reviewing. They're like, why does your bubble go outside the panel? And I'm like, what do you mean? Why does it have to stay inside? And they're like, I've never seen a comic like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. This isn't a comic. It's a manga. I know I say comic because I know that's what you'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I wish he'd said that rather than assume that it was because of inexperience. I would have happily told him that, it's the reason I just didn't think about it because I'm a manga artist, and that's what we do, us manga artists.
Mm-hmm.
We're notorious.
Yeah, that would make me upset. Like, if he just assumed like that. I mean, like, I would get it, but still, just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. I felt very depressed, because that would have been cool. Lettering would have been neat. I would have loved to have lettered a comic. That'd have been cool.
You should have just sent him. You should have just sent him to like James and be like, "Look, this is a guy who's been professionally lettering manga, and this is how it's done."
Right. Well, and that's what I thought was I would, go and ask James how he did it. And I think James wouldn't find the same problems that I found.
I think all you need to do is just open a piece of One Punch Man, open a book of One Punch Man. And honestly, that's why I like a lot of the books that he's worked on. I've bought just to see, because I know that he did it. So I'm trying to like just look at the lettering that he's done and try to like mimic it, I guess.
Yeah.
So man, like, I don't know. I think lettering is my weakest area, especially when it comes to sound effects. I am utterly afraid of sound effects. That's why if you look back in all my manga, there's almost never any, or my comic that I did for Noor, there's almost no sound effects at all.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to handle them. So I didn't do them. I didn't even put them in.
Right.
But now that I'm doing this with Shonen Jump, I have to. And now it's like, well, do I put them in English? Do I put them in Japanese? Like, I probably should put them in English. That way they know what I meant. Like, what should I do? And then, because in Shonen Jump, sometimes it's in Japanese, sometimes it's in English. So I'm not even sure, like, what I want to do. So I can't find my old version. So I'm going to look up some photos or scans of the old Shonen Jump and see what they did.
Right.
And then just do that.
Are you going to be working with Jump in English, or are you going to be working in Jump in Japanese?
It in English. You can submit your entry in English, and they'll translate it for you.
Right.
So you kind of have to trust that they'll translate it well. So what I'm going to do to help them, at least with my character names, is I'm planning on making my comic only 50 pages. That way at the end, you got the cover, which is one of the 5. And then I want to have like a thank you credit page to like my friends and stuff, like just because that'll again go at the end. Like none of this stuff is going to go at the beginning except the cover, because I don't want them to see that and then lose interest. But I want to have like at least one page where I show like character art and the character name in English and how it's said in Japan, like in katakana. That way they know what it's supposed to be. Because the character names may not be phonetic. Like Pon, I think is pretty obvious. Amat, I think is pretty obvious. But the oarfish, I wanted to make sure that I can put in the name of the type of fish in Japanese. That way they know what the fish is.
Right. So that they will actually probably just spell it out in Japanese.
Yeah, that way, like, because I want to put it in, like, just make it obvious to them, like, hey, this is what I was meaning, like, this is how I would say it, like, this is what I meant, but it'd be just one page of, like, just, like, one line drawing of each character, and then, like, the name, like, that's all. Right. But I want to have, like, an ending, like the ending cover, because there's not going to be, I've thought about splitting this into 2 chapters. But I'm not sure if I actually want to split it into chapters since it's only 50 pages.
Right.
I don't know if that's worth splitting into chapters. Sorry, I was looking up a reference here.
Totally fine.
I just thought I just like stopped drawing for like 5 minutes because I was on my other computer looking up a reference.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean it's something that I'm definitely. Honestly, there's 1 or 2 submissions already that I think are really good contenders.